it never really felt like they fully lost their grasp on this game, despite some things going against them that we'll get to. But Jeff Goodman, a 6-point win for UConn over Gonzaga. How differently do you feel about this team right now than you did 2 weeks ago?
Oh, like 1,000 times different. I mean, I think I wasn't the only one that was looking at this team and saying, how are they going to get it together this quickly against Baylor, Texas, and Gonzaga coming up? Like, we knew they were going to get better, but Dan Hurley had to do it quick, or else there were other opportunities that were going to go by the wayside, and then you're putting a ton of pressure on yourself in a Big East that, frankly, doesn't have a ton of resume wins. So they needed to get, I thought, at least 2 of them, and instead they got all 3 of them. And tonight was Liam McNeely night. And listen, I remember seeing him on the AU circuit for a couple years straight and thinking to myself, like, this dude is just going to be a great piece for a team. He's just going to be a great piece because he can do a little bit of everything, and he knows how to play, and he makes the right decisions, and he's fearless. He's better than a piece. He's probably the best player. He might be the best player on this UConn team, and certainly he was tonight in a game that I don't want to say they had to have, but they had to have if they were going to get back to where, like, they're feeling like, you know, again, they're a true contender for a Final Four.
Yeah, and I think Liam was absolutely UConn's best player tonight. He was incredible. I still think that Karaban is their best player because of all of the different things that he could do, especially the impact that he has defensively. Let's just say that there are still some things that Liam McNeely needs to work on the defensive end of the floor. I will say this. What he brings as a secondary creator offensively, I think, is so important to what this team's ceiling is. Hassan Diarra he was really, really good tonight. And he has flashes where he's terrific. But he is not a guy that I think you want carrying your offense the way that somebody like a Tristan Newton did, right? You need him to have some help being able to create stuff offensively because he's not really he's not a scorer. He's someone who can kind of make plays when things open up, but he's not someone that you can rely on fully. And I thought that what Liam was able to do, coming off of some of those DHOs, coming off of some of those pin downs, getting into the ball screen actions, initiating the offense himself, and doing it without turning the ball over is just so important to what they can do offensively and how dangerous they are. There was one play in the second half where Hurley called up, it was a sideline out of bounds, and they get the ball into Liam, and they allow him to make a couple of reads, and they run Solo off a dribble handoff, and he doesn't give the ball up, and they go to run Alex off of it, and Liam rejects it, and then turns around and comes off of a ball screen, gets into the lane, draws 2 defenders, and kicks it out to Solo ball for a 3. And that kind of play was not something that he had the confidence to do even 3 weeks ago. Like his growth and his development is, I think, emblematic of the growth and development that this UConn program has made overall. They're so much better defensively. Like, they're crisper in the rotations. It's like they went from being a team in Maui that knew what they were supposed to do, didn't know how to actually do it, right? And now you can see them actually executing the stuff that they are supposed to be doing defensively, offensively. Like the trajectory of this team is on the way up. It was a lot of fun to watch that because that looked like a UConn basketball team. And it's been a while since, we've been able to say that this season.
Yeah, but think about this. UConn shot 5 for 24 from 3. Karaban was cold tonight. He did not have it going. Samson Johnson exits the game just over 8 minutes into the contest. He's in concussion protocol. Dan Hurley just got done with reporters. So you lose your starting center. Your advertised best player was cold tonight, did not shoot the basketball well. Your point guard play kind of is what it is, Jeff. It's not going to be Tristan Newton level. It's far from that. And yet, Liam McNeely, who Indiana could use in the worst way right now, steps up and takes control of the game. And they do enough defensively to make Ryan Nembhard have to work. And they find a way. And I think that's what just got done talking with Dan Hurley. And he said, that's what stands out to me about who we are as a program. Certain things, pretty much everything that could have gone wrong went wrong in Maui. Certain things went wrong tonight. Connecticut doesn't win this game 2.5 weeks ago. They showed maturation that had to happen, Jeff, in a short period of time, and McNeely was a baller tonight, as was Jalen Stewart, and Terrace Reed did enough.
Yeah, let me take it, Jeff, because I think
was at the Garden. And the game was at the Garden, not in Maui.
Yes, and let me say this, because I think that point is really important, Fanta. UConn was up 55-49 at one point in the second half, and then they come in, they have a turnover on a 10-second violation. They have Caleb Battle hits a three over Liam McNeely, who doesn't get his hand up in time. Then there is another bad shot that is essentially a turnover on UConn's end that leads directly into Ryan Nemhard banging a three because the guy guarding him goes underneath the ball screen. And all of a sudden you go from 55-49 and control the game to it's a tie game in the split. Like, it was the span of like 30 seconds of real time, not just game time, real time. And UConn calls a timeout. And if this was Maui, they would have folded. Like, you would have seen Gonzaga reel off like an 8-0 run, and that would have been it. And it would have been UConn fighting from behind. And instead, you get Jalen Stewart banging the three after a beautiful ATO set that UConn ran. Then you get a stop, and you have Jalen Stewart hit that, like, it was the fall down. He had the shot on the baseline that went in. Then you come back on the other end. Liam McNeely gets a layup, and then he bangs a three. And they immediately respond to that with a 10-0 run. And that right there is the difference, right? They went from being a team that would have folded to being the team that pushes them back. And I don't know if you caught this because you were at the game, but they went to the in the huddle timeout, the thing that Fox does, which I love. And Hurley was like, that's how champions respond. That's what a championship team does. And he's 100% right, because that is more than anything else. We could talk about X's and O's, and we could talk about like the pin downs and this and assists and all that. It was the mindset right there in that moment. That's what won them the game. And that's what they needed to learn how to do.